Thank you, Jessica. Problem statement clarity. It's, you need to be able to explain to the judges and the panel and the audience what your problem is that you're trying to solve. Next one, presentation creativity. I've said this all along. You could have the worst idea and present it and pitch it in the best way, and it probably will catapult you towards the top. Likewise, you could have an amazing idea and amazing execution and present it poorly. It probably won't go over all that well. No pressure there. And then at the end of the day, what we're here for, technical feasibility. If you present something that isn't technically feasible, we'll probably call you out on it in the Q&A. And if you're in the chat, I do encourage you to be active in the chat during these presentations. I expect there will be a lot of questions, a lot of interesting things that come up during this. So no pressure there. Amy, what did I miss?
So live presentations, we're going to take video snippets and put together a video montage. Everyone loves that. So we'll be sharing that out, and we'll be just a reminder that we'll be announcing the winners, champions at our Sunday event.
All right. So no pressure. Okay. Next slide, Amy. Here we go. So we have randomly selected an order. All the teams have given themselves interesting team names. I love it. So what we're going to do now is Jessica's going to find the team leader from Cyber Threat, and
should be Raj.
Is Raj the Cyber Threat kickoff person? Yep. No pressure, Raj, but you're going first. Is Raj here? Yeah, I see him. He's there. So Jessica's going to promote Raj. I'm going to stop talking for a few minutes. Raj, you're going to be the guinea pig. So what we're going to do is, if you do go over 10 minutes, Amy and I are going to turn our cameras on.
Yeah.
Kind of get involved here. Jessica, do you see Raj?
He was there, and I promoted him, and now he's gone.
All right. So yeah, he has to join. Yeah. So here we go. All right. Raj in the house. Let's see.
All right. Can you all hear me?
We got you, Raj. Okay. I'm going to turn my camera off. It's all you. You have 10 minutes. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. I'll share my screen. Quick slideshow from beginning.
Looks good. We see it. So you're all set.
Beautiful. So I know we call our team Cyber Threat, and then we came up with a punchline or like a logo name, Cora. So our team name is Cyber Threat or Cora, but I think we submitted Cora. So it's an autocomplete AI model that we kind of wanted to leverage data science with PromoStandards. I think it's something that really doesn't exist as much, or maybe not at all, especially open source. So wanted to create a unique experience for Hack-A-Thon. So what's our goal? So we wanted to build a web application, so like a UI application, kind of like Google, where what we would do is take the product data API from suppliers, take the marketing points, the product name, and kind of combine the marketing points with the product name, with the product description, and come up with a machine learning algorithm that can start predicting words. So let's say you're a marketing person and you type a few words. This AI model, because it has learned or looked at the whole corpus of supplier marketing points and supplier descriptions, it will start recommending the next word. So it's almost like a text completion, or it can help you complete the best marketing text that you can come up with. That was the whole goal. So why? Well, I mean, when marketing people are, our marketing team is writing text for a product, they have done so many products in the past. They have done various various type of products, and sometimes they want to look for the words that they may have used for a past project. And this, because it will consume product data from all suppliers, can kind of take the best of the world, and based on what word you're typing, it will come up with the prediction for the next one. So that was the whole goal, and we did it. We built a front end application, which at the very end, we will have a video kind of showing what we did. So that'll be a fun experience. But yeah, this is what the UI kind of looks like. And we will go through more details very soon. So we also have the white, dark mode and light mode. So we wanted to show that we could do cool stuff in UI. So what does the architecture look like? How many like tech stacks did we use in like 4 or 5 days? So we consume product data from different suppliers. So we had to, we did that using .NET MVC framework. We essentially had credentials stored in a database, visual stored in a database. We kind of went through suppliers, consumed their product data, took their marketing points, product description, product name, stored in a database, then regurgitated an endpoint which has JSON data that my AI model built in Flask and consumed and train on that data, and then throw back a Flask API endpoint that the front end application is using for the autocorrect or autocomplete. So very like, so as you can see, we use Angular on the front end, .NET for like pulling data. Obviously we have database. We have Flask to build the AI model and Flask to build an API. So a bunch of different tech stacks. It was a very complicated project that we pulled off in like 5 days. All right, now very quick snippet of the database for all the database gurus. I'm sure there's quite a few in the hackathon, so kind of look what we did. All right, let's see it in action. But before I get there, what we used was for the AI model was an n-gram autocomplete model. N-gram model is essentially a way of saying it looks at the whole, like if I take all these different marketing points, it breaks it into words, and then it sees which words occur next to each other, and then comes up with the probability. So if you type the word, I don't know, sun, it's gonna say cream, sun or sunscreen. So it's gonna like look at, hey, what words have people written and kind of come up with the best probability answers. It's called n-gram. There's a bunch of papers out there, so you can kind of read it on your own. With this model, because it's not a regression where I'm like trying to predict a number, it's not a classification because classification is this a ball or a bat? We are doing text or natural language processing. Therefore, these type of model is called perplexity. Perplexity is a way of indicating, hey, how confuses the model writing out English words or English because we chose English. And our model, we essentially had 2 models. The first one was just a very quick product marketing data dump from like from a while back. Took that and we got a score of like 160 some of the words. Then we took marketing data, product description, product name across more suppliers, and then our score actually got up to 200. Now, higher the score is not good. Higher the score is actually bad. So lower the score is good. So Google probably has a perplexity of less than like 10. So it's very like human readable. Ours was in the 160s to 200. So again, very quick hack for hackathon. And we can obviously, or someone can look at our GitHub code and make the model better. All right, so GitHub link, and let's see it in action. Before I ended, could not have done it without my team. Brad was a fantastic, like building the .NET framework. Eric Leon from HIT, fantastic building the .NET. Ken, .NET backend from Facilis, amazing. John built the front end, and Sean helped me prepare this marketing site, like our deck. So without Sean, I would not have been able to talk about these marketing points. So without my team, would not have been able to do it in 5 days, all these different tech stacks. All right, so let's take a quick peek at what this looks like, because I know you love videos, right? So let's see. All right. Full screen. All right, so this is where the video, what we're showing is you can type a word and then it's kind of coming up with like jean, it's like jacket as the next probable word. If you type the word meats, FDA, now remember the API in Flask is running on a very like dev server. So it's pretty slow. Like it takes like 10, 20 seconds to come up with the recommendation. It came up with the word requirements. So it's actually very like helpful. It comes back with the next word that it knows. Okay, so double wall construction. Again, from an English language perspective, makes sense, right? Like, and think about this. This is an AI model building this on its own, insulated drinkware. So I'm gonna keep going. At the end, hand wash recommended. Very cool, right? Let's see. All right, at the end, we also have a copy all feature and to be able to delete certain things. Like, so all these marketing points that you like created or text you created, you can copy all and dump it into your database. And now you have marketing points. I love the look, like if you look at this logo, like every time it's loading, it does a nice, cool animation. And this is all due to John. John put a lot of effort into that. So thank you, John. And you can copy that into your text editor. And you now have marketing points that was AI kind of played a role in creating that. And you can delete some stuff if you don't like it. And this application is in GitHub. If you want to make some more modifications, go for it. But this is our project. Thank you, team.
All right, if anybody has questions for Raj, you can ask them now. So Raj, I guess what you've created is a marketing person's dream when they have to come up with bullet point text for hundreds of products in a short time's notice. Am I correct?
Yeah, like it learns, right? So the future applications you can think of it, chatbot, like, hey, can I build an Outlook plugin that can like help me recommend what kind of response do I want to write to the customers? Like, it literally is the base for building highly complex natural language processing applications. You could like build your own like text response based on customer feedback and use it in OrderStats 2.0, which we will talk about in our summit.
Does anybody or any of the judges have any questions while we have Raj on the hot seat here?
How is the performance of this model? So yeah, I kind of said that, right? Text like GPT-3 and others, like their perplexity is like way like closer to like double digits or like less. And ours was in the 160s to the 200. So lot of words that we use in the promo marketing that maybe are not necessarily that could like find patterns. So it was like pretty high, meaning there was a lot of variance in the data, which is why we have such a high variance. Like, so if I use Shakespeare's text, you would see a perplexity score in the 20s.
So I have a couple of questions. So first question, first of all, I really like this. I'm impressed with this. So how much hyperparameter tuning did you need to do to get the quality of these results?
So because this is n-gram, right? So like essentially you say, okay, am I doing a bigram, like unigram, trigrams? So we started noticing bigrams is the best for promotional products. So that's like the main hyperparameter here that we use. But then the other hyperparameter that we tweaked with was training and test data set. So I think we ended up looking at 70% train and 30% test kind of validation to come up with our algorithm. That was another hyperparameter that we tweaked. And there's also like a K value, which is called normalization, for coming up with perplexity or coming up with the n-gram like algorithm. The math is complex, but there's essentially in the denominator, there's a K parameter, and we chose 1, but like every research paper kind of like says K should be 1. So that's what we use.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And secondly, do you think from a business standpoint that there's value in the standardization of the terms, or do you see a world where there's benefit in more unique languages per supplier for these descriptions? What's your vision on this?
My vision was, hey, how can I shove PromoStandards into AI, which now we did. So we chose marketing points because like I was thinking of where can I find text? Like where can I find text data? And obviously product data was the only thing we kind of thought of, right? So, but the vision is not necessarily like marketing points you can, but as you can see, like, it's very difficult to get it to be more optimized. I would say this type of technique is more useful for like chatbots, and you can take from like recommendation for like emailing in your Outlook, like to your customers.
Awesome. Thank you, Raj. So there are questions that are piling in, Raj, for you in the chat. Please see if you can address them in the chat. A lot of people are pretty curious as to how, I guess I would expect with this crew, the technical know-how as much as the business application. So
I will post a YouTube, and I'm sure Jessica will post a PowerPoint, both as the GitHub and the YouTube link.
Awesome. Great job, Raj and Team Cyber Threat. Amy, who do we have up? Who do we have up next?
We have Team Profound next. So Bryony and Stephen will be our presenters.
All right, Bryony. No pressure, but you have to follow some AI and Raj, so get after it.
All right. Can you guys hear me and see my screen?
We got you.
All right. Awesome. I'm going to actually share a presentation here. Oh, hold on. All right, so we are Team PromoFound, a profound new way to search. So this is our presentation for the first PromoStandards Hack-A-Thon. PromoFound makes multi-vendor promotional product search efficient and easy. It makes it easy to implement a multi-vendor search engine powered by PromoStandards. Our technology removes major roadblocks for companies and developers who need to get product data from different suppliers. It also allows users to affordably build a powerful promo product search engine with a keyword search and filtering, such as by supplier, color, size, and so forth. So the problem we worked to solve was how difficult it currently is to build a multi-vendor promotional product search engine. It's hard to get reliable data from suppliers. Companies have to rely on a select few third-party vendors that offer search, and those services are not based on standards. They require expensive subscriptions or they restrict the use of data. Options are limited for distributors who want to implement a search on their website, and non-industry search technologies are not tuned into the specific requirements for the promotional product industry. So our solution is PromoFound. PromoFound is a scalable and efficient product search service. It leverages PromoStandards product data, media content, and pricing config services. It's also open to everybody. And again, it's tuned into the requirements of our industry. Furthermore, cached product information enables lightning fast search results. And it utilizes our groundbreaking XML to JSON technology. As mentioned, PromoFound is open and accessible to everybody, including suppliers, distributors, decorators, and service providers. It can be used in a public-facing website, internal tools, and the cache can enable fast responses for PromoStandard web services. Having a quality search makes it easy for website visitors to find products they're looking for, which ultimately leads to more sales. A configurable weighted search algorithm means users can find the most relevant results based on their needs. And since the data is coming directly from suppliers, it ensures that product data is as accurate and up to date as it can be. One of the biggest challenges with building a search engine. As a side effect to building PromoFound, we also developed a groundbreaking XML to JSON technology, which makes it easier for developers to consume PromoStandards. Many developers complain about having to work with XML. PromoStandards uses SOAP and XML to transfer data between services, which ensures consistency across implementations. But many developers are not familiar, Many developers are not familiar with, sorry guys, my screen's got mixed up. They're not familiar with these, but they are familiar with JSON and prefer to work with REST-based services. So we decided to include this because there are benefits to using SOAP and XML that other service frameworks do not offer. A bit about our XML to JSON. Our technology converts XML responses to a compliant JSON representation of the product data. Developers can therefore work with JSON results, which are more modern and familiar. The solution removes the barrier in getting product information from different suppliers, and additionally, this technology can be used for all PromoStandards services, not just product-related services. So we use PromoFound to build a website with search in under a week. This demonstrates the power of PromoFound, the PromoFound search, and also proves the feasibility of our solution. We've sent a link to the judges to play around with the website, but I'm going to jump over there and show you guys it now. So this is our website. We have our own UI. Of course, anybody implementing PromoFound can use it however they see fit. We're able to enter a search term here, like green tumbler, and apply some filters if we want. The filters we chose to include right now are the ability to filter by supplier, apparel style, and apparel size. So here are our search results. These are ranked based on relevance. So you can see we have our best results first, followed by good, and so forth. We can then view product details. This is a light version of the product details page. For anybody who has more time or bigger requirements to set up a page like this, there's a lot of other information available through PromoStandards that you can include. We also have a preview of the JSON data. As I mentioned, this is powering the search, so we can see all that product data we're getting from PromoStandards right here. So just to jump back and show that all again, I'm going to do one more search. And we'll see the search results. Again, ranked with the algorithm that is part of PromoFound, which is also configurable. So depending on who is utilizing it, they can change it to meet their needs. All right, getting back to my presentation. All right, so we also were able to build a desktop application using PromoFound. This also shows the power of PromoFound and how flexible it can be. It can be used in many different ways by different businesses. So here's a screenshot of that application. As you can see, we have filters for color and custom apparel sizes, which have not been implemented on the website. And again, it just shows how flexible this PromoFound is. So some technical details of what we did. We included the XML to JSON conversion to implement it on the website. We included a product cache, weighted results, and a data updater. We used all this to build both a website and a desktop application. And anyone in the industry can use PromoFound to do the same for what they need. So that's it. If you're ready to embrace a profound new way to enable product search, check out PromoFound. It's never been easier to build a fast, accurate, and scalable search engine.
All right, so I'm sure there's a lot of service providers in the industry who are very intrigued with your presentation. You seem to have tapped into the holy grail of Promo, which is reliable search.
Yep.
Do we have any questions from any of the judges or in the chat that we can address here? Looks like Wade's chiming in here.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love it. Definitely as a service provider, we love product search. How often is the data refreshed? Presumably it's cached if you have all the supplier information that you're looking for. How often is that refreshed, and what does that look like in terms of time to do that? Is that a daily thing, or?
Yeah, currently we did not implement the refresh. We just did a load. If we had more time than a week, we would have implemented that. But I would assume that, and we've done this before, but it would be based off of a schedule and look for products that have changed and reload those portions of the cache.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you.
Great question. Any other questions for the crew here? They did post a live link in the chat for those of you who are looking to play around just at about 4:21. So
Yes, we're running it on my developer account in Microsoft Azure. It's a limited database size right now. So if we had 300 people hit it, it might hit the limit of the amount I'm willing to pay to run the database right now.
Oh, you might get 80 or 78, it looks like. So it looks like David might chime in here with a question.
Yeah, we were also limited to the just one set of data. That's all we had access to, but of course this can be implemented across different supplier data.
Yeah, the data tool looks terrific. Can you speak to just anything unique about the search criteria itself in terms of its ability to produce what you term higher quality results?
Yeah, so we do searches not only on the filters, but the text that was entered. And we actually have weightings based off the different fields and the amount of matching that it creates, whether it's exact matches, partial matches, and it's based off the specific pieces of the PromoStandards elements that are returned by the services that we're utilizing.
Steve, a follow-up question to that. Was there any particular piece of data that you ranked higher than others?
If you put in part of the SKU, if the SKU matched or the part numbers, that was the highest, followed by, we did the description, the names, product name, and then we kind of go down from there. All of the different parameters for the weights are configurable. So if you want to fine tune it for your needs, you can just change the weighting values and it'll grade it across that. One thing that we really didn't highlight was we also take those rankings and we put it into a relevancy score, which is actually what we've shown in line on the search results on how relative it is.
Great, thank you.
Excellent. All right, so we are, Steve, I must remind everybody, this was done in 6-ish, 5-ish days. I think the first we've seen an incredible amount of work to put an actual working demo together, an actual site. So great job, Team Promo Found. I guess you guys better go quickly grab up that domain because I looked last night and it was if you want to buy it, it's like $7,000. So good luck.
I think we already have it.
Oh, all right. That's maybe it was maybe you're offering it up for $7,000. So no pressure. Okay, Amy, who's next?
The adapters are next. So we have Chad and Lisa presenting.
Yeah, Poom as well. Poom will be presenting the slides. So before we begin, I just want to do a quick introduction of our team. We're the multi-international team that kind of had our own room and we came up with an idea. We have Lisa, Poom, Gino, Jason Sues from Netherlands, Belgium, Thailand, Canada. When we were working on this project, we had difficulty trying to decide how we were going to communicate our problem statement and solution to an American audience. So we watched countless hours of American television and noticed a very distinctive pattern. So before we do the presentation, we're going to share what we learned is the most common form of media to present our problem and solution for the wider audience and a way that feels familiar to the American audience. So let me share this. Here we go. Is it playing? No. One second here. It's not playing.
I'm so excited for this. I just hope it works.
It was working earlier.
We'll give you no pressure. We'll give you the second here to figure it out because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's not playing now. Is there a permissions thing maybe?
Let me see what I can do here for you.
You might be able to play it, John, as a
let me
an admin.
2 seconds. Can you message me that link and see if I can play it? Because it's actually I sent it to the board.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, it's not letting me play it.
It's the
Vidyard.
Yeah, you can use that.
Okay.
As long as it plays audio, we're good.
That's the
I was trying to play the file directly. Yeah, there we go.
Let's see if I can did you guys hear this, Amy?
No.
Amy, do you hear the audio?
No, not yet.
All right, sorry. First timers here.
Yeah, we tested it earlier and it was playing for us, but it might
Share
be
sound. I got it. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Have you been diagnosed with PIP? Promotional industry pain affects 2 out of every 3 employees. Symptoms include an overwhelming amount of manual entry, order errors due to sausage fingers, using multiple systems to do one job, getting suppliers to acknowledge and fulfill POs, headache, Pain Be Gone solves 3 layers of pain. Are you dealing with this when it comes to your orders? Are slow APIs slowing down the way you search for products? Pain Be Gone gives everyone access to all of PromoStandards. Hey, enterprises! Want to integrate with PromoStandards but are overwhelmed by the number of suppliers? Pain Be Gone makes it easy to search for, select, and use the ones you need and fast. And don't forget your customers. Submit a purchase order. Also fast. From mom and pop stores to massive corpos, Pain Be Gone has your back. Side effects may include diarrhea, abnormal dreams, hand-foot syndrome, bottom line, blue urine, midnight munchies, forgetfulness, unusual urges, Vegas baby Vegas, old age, aversion to medication and treatment, and science. Make PIP a thing of the past and plug and play your way to the features you need, fast. With Pain Be Gone. Adapters hold no responsibility for any adverse side effects. Copyright 2022, patent pending.
So that's our ad.
All right, no pressure.
It's a pharmaceutical ad, for the American TV, because that's all you can see on American television. And so at this point, I would like to hand it over to Puma and Lisa, and they'll do the slides.
All right, sounds good. Let me share the slides then. Lisa?
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about kind of the distributor pains. Like obviously too many tools in the workflow, 3 to 5. It can be, your ERP system, industry platform, CRM, homegrown systems. It's a lot to work through, kind of causing the search and the sync to be slow as you're grinding through the data. IT resources, for those small to mid, even large distributors, not having the IT resources at their fingertips to be able to dedicate to a project to kind of get this integrated. And then kind of as the commercial said, order entry mistakes, garbage in equals garbage out, and it just compounds the issue and compounds the number of touches that we have to have for every order. So if you look at, obviously, the better we get the workflow, the more that we get the data flowing, the more sales for distributors and the more sales for suppliers. On the platform side, so some of the platform pains is it's just difficult to integrate PromoStandards with a modern e-commerce platform. You're talking maybe 6+ months to integrate. Looking at legacy APIs, tech, design, some of the documents are hard to understand. And then almost most importantly, the inconsistent data quality, which everybody relies on. So what we're really trying to do, what we're really trying to solve for is to be able to integrate with PromoStandards in 90 seconds or less. Working with your e-commerce sites, platforms, even your ERP, and searching products, refreshing the inventories, and being able to submit POs in literally milliseconds.
All right, you have heard Lisa, but how do we actually do that? It's very easy. We have created 3 technologies: Elements, SDK, and Engine, to make it easy to integrate with your technologies. But let's start with Elements. I'm sure every distributor in this room uses at least one product research tool. It's very convenient, so you can find the products from the suppliers. But the problem is you are switching between software, right? You have one software for product research, the others for e-commerce. How do you tie it together? I'll show you how to do that in just 90 seconds. You can find the right products your end buyers can too, and you can customize the designs however you want. It's easy. You just put in this HTML code, which is our web components with Svelte, and you input in the access tokens, and then bam, you get this embedded product research tool that's usable in every website and e-commerce platforms. And we provide a JavaScript API where you can use it to your advantage. Let me show you how. In the meantime, you can go to this link and test it out. Let me go to the demos, 1 second. All right. Here's a little demo where we're using this API to make like kind of build a store system where distributors can build the stores. Okay, so I'm gonna make an outdoor store. So first, obviously you can filter by price. So I can only find products that are over 50. I'm using the server in the US, but in Bangkok, so there's quite some latency. Usually it takes less than 30 milliseconds to do a query. But okay, you can filter by everything like brand category and subcategories. So I might want to buy some gel pens and you need both. So let me save. And you should be able to get whatever product you need with the criteria you want. All of this is going through our caching server, so the API is lightning fast. All right, let's do a bit more demo. Maybe let's find some writing instruments. And the search here are full text search, and it's being ranked using a relevancy algorithm in Prisma, so it's quite fast. So that's basically how you can use it. You can filter by supplier. Right now, we only have Starline, brand, subcategory, color, and everything else. Okay, back to the demo. As you can see, this isn't really only for product research because you can tie it up and make it so that distributors can set up stores. You can even have your end buyers add their own products to cart or link it with maybe a presentation tool. So the possibilities are endless. This works by connecting to our GraphQL caching server, and I'll tell you why that's extremely important. Second solution is our adapter SDK. We have so many CRMs and ERP these days, but the problem is the distributors, small and medium ones, they have very small IT teams. So they don't have the time nor the resource to integrate with them. We provide a full set of SDKs that can integrate with all of PromoStandards like product pricing, grading purchase orders. This works securely with both client server and provides an inline documentation. What you have to do is you create a secure access token. So this will allow you to securely use the system, and you can get the products pricing and inventory. You can search for specific criteria and very securely so. Again, this SDK is basically a wrapper or GraphQL, which connects to our caching server. The nice thing is that people don't really need to know how the API works to use the SDK because the engine does all the work. So we're at the last part, which is our engine. This is similar to the caching server that we might have seen before, but the interesting thing is that it uses GraphQL. The GraphQL allows you to get exactly the data that you need. This is a unified graph, which I'll show you in a moment. This is also fully cached and refreshed every day. So you get the latest data you need and configurable. You can host this on your own infrastructure, and there's inline documentation. When I find the PromoStandards docs, I see there's 8 services. The problem is if I want to get a product, I need to call get products, get a bunch of IDs, get them individually, and then use the PPC API. What if we don't need to do any of that? We just use one graph and we get everything. This is where GraphQL comes from. When we reduce the number of data we want to request from the API, we make it much faster. GraphQL allows you to get exactly what you need only with a single request, and there's a built-in documentation and a type system. This technology is not new. It's already used by over 3,000 companies. So I know we're running out of time, so it's just a quick demo. So in this sandbox, you can see that we can find all sorts of products here. You can see exactly by hovering over it what products and what fields are available, like subcategories and brands. So this uses Postgres behind the scene with Redis as another caching layer with a full text search system. But you can see every field like products and supplier are actually fully documented. So people want to be asking what this API is actually doing. Of course, you can submit purchase orders. And the nice thing is the documentation, everything is fully provided here. So you can find out exactly what does what without reading a single line of documentation. And the same docs also available on the SDK. So whether you're integrating directly or via an SDK, it's all the same. To wrap up, suppliers does not need to change anything. And this is the neat part of it. We does all the data cleanup. But in the future, if supplier want to implement the GraphQL standard, we provide a set of technologies that they can do. So to wrap up, more integrations helps distributors to help their business. They can scale, they can integrate with CRM and ERPs to get a one view, and they can also improve their end user experience. So that's the adapters. Thank you. I'm
assuming some of the REST to JSON teams would have some beef with your jump right to GraphQL, but we'll open it up here for one question from the judges. So if anybody has a question here, other than obviously your introduction video was pretty cool.
Looks like Wade has his hand up.
All right, Wade, go ahead.
Yeah, really curious on the ERP CRM mentioned there on integration. Can you explain a little bit about how that works?
Sure. So we expose a set of GraphQL mutations, which you can use to submit purchase orders, and also the SDKs. So right now, the main problem with integrating with ERPs is that you have to understand how the whole PromoStandards API works. But with this SDK, it makes it much easier to do webhooks or other standard ERP integrations.
Thank you.
Oh, so my only question is more comment. That's a lot for 6-7 days of hackathon. So is this, how much of this is functional versus the demo? All of it?
So, yeah, all of this is actually live data from Starline. So none of this is mocked.
All right. All right. Great job. It's good teamwork there. So, Amy, who do we have coming up next?
Oh, I think we might have a fun one up for the next one. Not that they've all been fun. This one might be a little bit more controversial. Putting soap to rest.
Yes, it's everybody's favorite topic here. So,
and Stephen is our presenter for this.
Hello. Okay, I can share my screen.
Yep. All right. It's all you, Steven. 10 minutes. No going over.
All right. Let's see if I can put this into 10 minutes. We've heard the ask for JSON data from other presentation, and that's really what we're looking to solve here. We decided to take on a different approach for this by reintroducing PromoStandards, but without the SOAP protocol. So surprisingly, the S in SOAP stands for simple. And at the time the standard was introduced, it did make life simpler. But since then, new protocols have emerged with more elegant and cleaner options for communication. So why did we choose REST? Really, maybe the better question is why not REST? The reasons are both practical and preferential, especially by the implementators. Those who actually bring the standards to production. Practically speaking, REST is more lightweight than SOAP. Not only is it because it has a smaller character footprint, but also because an HTTP request containing JSON doesn't need to bear the additional overhead of a SOAP envelope. Smaller requests and response payloads results in a more concise communication that leads to reduced network traffic and lower CPU usage. REST is also, as we saw, so much easier to adapt for client-side applications such as web and mobile apps. The developer community is adopting the REST standard at a much higher rate than SOAP. PromoStandards launched with SOAP despite a growing number of REST implementations. And this rigid structure has allowed more control over the service definition, but on the flip side has made some partners reluctant to adopting the standard. As participation grows, we think an open source community guided kind of solution will allow better participation and innovation going forwards. So our project, it's primarily composed of a .NET Core project. We elected that as a reliable web-based framework for its ease of implementation and its integration with other tools. So most of the code that holds the standard specification, this resides in generated C# classes that we generated from WSDLs provided by Starline. And then we just had to do a bit of tweaking to the schema code to add more qualitative data in the spec. And then we use a Swagger library to generate the API documentation. It refers to the encode the API controllers available and then follows the definitions of those inputs and the outputs, and then provides a UI to read, explore, and test the specification. We did have some restructuring to do, as offering the data using JSON should adhere to REST principles. This is such as resource grouping, the appropriate usage of HTTP verbs, and other URL conventions. The changes we have done was not to restructure the existing object specification, but how should these be offered via the available calls. So more on this in a moment. As for security, we would rather not engage in the debate of the appropriate choice of, so that's a little out of scope. So therefore, we just simply decided to implement using basic HTTP authentication. This means supplying the user ID and password. It's going to be contained in the request header rather than the body, the request payload. And we've also included a variety of related tools to assist with the review and the implementation of this REST PromoStandards. So this includes a validator tool, much like the existing one, to aid in identifying compliance issues and confirming that an implementation is valid. Our validation tool is powered by JSON.NET, a Newtonsoft product. It has the capabilities of providing validation results against a given JSON schema. We've also added an alternative UI because we found the Swagger API documentation to be heavily technical and may be a little too daunting for non-technical representatives. So we made an easy layout that's just easy to read. And it comes with pre-written API call examples and demo data. And a little bonus, we've also added a simple product viewer, just as a quick example of how easy it is to get started and integrated. So as mentioned, the usage of Swagger takes care of that management task to have the standard presented. What is appreciated from this tool is the fact that it's the code itself that is the definition of the standard. When the specification changes, so does the documentation. This eases the maintenance of making the management easier. So there's two sets of documentations here. One's for the schema definition. This is what fields are in a given object, what the object is composed of, its expected data types, requiredness. But the other set of documentation is the endpoints, how to access this data. This is Swagger's primary usage to look at an API implementation and offer the documentation details on API things like where is the endpoint, which HTTP verbs do you have to use, get versus post, the query parameters that are offered, for filtering purposes, and also what kind of responses are expected. This is talking about your HTTP codes, such as 200 for success, 204 for no content, etc. You can even use this Swagger UI test to test the endpoints. You can submit sample requests, the API is called, and you can review the responses. Moving to a REST service architecture is more than just changing things from XML to JSON. There are principles behind REST and a REST implementation that the general public adheres to, and we should respect also. The main takeaway, the main point is that from these REST principles is that an endpoint should be grouped by resources. Right now we have it by services, right? So the idea behind a given URL is that you should be able to read it and it should describe the kind of data that it returns. So looking at the first example here, we got /API/products. This is going to return a collection of products, while API products SL238PR is going to return an instance of a product. With SL238PR, that's your product ID. It's in the route of the URL. Next example there, the /inventory. This is going to be a call that returns a collection of inventory resource, which is a sub-resource of products. You could think of it like a parent-child relationship. An example of a restructure that we had to do was consolidating existing endpoints such as the get product closeout or get product sellable, as both of these are returning the same kind of data. The real difference is in the requests, the ask, the filter, the response. So in a REST structure, these endpoints would exist in the same URL that requests for all products. It's the same resource, except that you supply your filtering options as query parameters. And that's denoted by the question mark in the URL. Thus, with one API implementation of get products, along with the proper implementation of the query params, you go from hosting 4 different existing endpoints in our product 2.0 into a singular endpoint that, let's call it product 3.0. So another example of restructuring was get filtered values. That's currently a call that returns 3 different kinds of resources. You got your product colors, sizes, and parts. So this would have to now get restructured into the 3 different endpoints, each one serving that given resource. A tool that we had to include in our solution scope is, of course, Validator, because our prototype is similar to the existing one, the one that's hosted on the PromoStandards site. And all you got to do is plug in your endpoint URL, it fetches the results, and then passes that through a validator service, which then compares the given schema against the official one, listing out any differences or the details at the field or value level that is considered not compliant. So this is very crucial for the adoption of the standards, of course. We know that we have to, this is to ensure conformity among all of our implementers. We've added this in as part, like it's just an alternative UI to the one that's generated. And this one is made to just be simpler and more to the punch of your specification inquiries. In its current form, we have built a list of sample calls, and then when you select them, it shows you the API call behind it, and you can even tweak that and call it yourself. And it just pulls the schema and the data and puts it into user-friendly grids that's packed with your familiar features, such as searching, sorting, filtering, column selection. As we have a limited control over like how Swagger presents the information, this easy to use tool makes it a better go-to for getting your quick information about the standards. And as a bonus, we just spun up a sample usage here. It's just a simple tool that will pull data from the product inventory and media APIs. And it just goes to show that once you have your REST APIs up and going, how easy it is to just integrate without all of that SOAP overhead. Rapid proof of concept prototyping. So what you see here in front of you is powered by 100 lines of JavaScript codes. Before I go over and play with the tools that we built, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the future. It's the reason why we're all here. It's for continuous improvement. We believe that PromoStandards should take on an open source approach. And after all, this is a technical venture. And what better way to manage it than with a code set that is universally viewed and accepted as a single point of truth? As an ERP developer, the part that excites me most about our solution, besides the fact that we have majestic JSON outputs, is the open source implementation. Now, anyone can easily clone the GitHub project and use that as a starting point to your own implementation. Let's discourage putting technical efforts in rewriting the wheel and encourage the discussion of change for the better. What would you contribute?
30 seconds.
All right, so we have it live, and this is the Swagger generated API documentation. Let me just refresh it. We didn't have time to scope the entire thing, so we just grabbed a few of them and ported them over. And we, for the sake of familiarity to our services, we still grouped them up to what you could expect under our current ones. So each one here is an API that is set up and ready to go. And using the reading the code, it pulls up all the parameters as inputs and what you can expect as a response, and gives you the ability to try it out.
So did you recreate most every PromoStandard service as a REST service? So what I'm seeing?
Not all of them, but we started off with product data, and then yeah, we just took a look at the inventory, the get filter values, broke it up. What's interesting to note here is that even if we grab these from different services, everything is a sub resource of products.
All right, so I'm gonna allow one question here. Erica has posted in the chat the live demo of this for anybody who's curious. Any of our judges have a question? If not, we'll hop to Steve's, which isn't a quick answer. All right, so you're gonna get Steve's question. Does a solution enforce a strict data contract? Can you insert additional new fields not in the schema into the request or response without causing issue?
You definitely can. Where you might be crossing some red tape would be in the validator. Because this works against the official spec, if in your implementation you are adding fields, this will mention of things that are not compliant, but it definitely allows anybody to extend the behavior and, let's say, add paging as as parameters, even if the spec never asked for it.
Excellent. All right, great job, team. That's putting SOAP to rest. Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure being put on everybody to put SOAP to rest here. So I threw a poll in the old Slack channel for everybody to chime in there if you're curious. But good job. So yeah, Erica's got all the demos. So yeah, everybody follow along in the chat for demos. That seems to be the going place for live demos. So play around with them. Some very strong opinions on SOAP. So great job. All right, Amy, who's next?
So up next is PS I Love You, and Manish will be presenting for us today.
Trying to play to the audience here with your team name. All right, Manish, it's all you when you're ready.
Perfect. Thanks, Amy. And are you guys able to hear me all right?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, yeah, what we are here to present today, I guess I'm presenting the wrong screen here. There we go. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, perfect. Are you guys able to see my screen?
We see the presenter mode. If you do
okay.
Baroni's ninja trick that she busted out twice in her presentation to swap screens, it's in. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I missed that bit.
Just roll with it. You got it.
Let me try.
You got this. Just go,
okay.
Go with
yeah,
this.
We can
sounds
see
good.
It. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. So yeah, so our project is PromoStandards order configurator that you will love to use, and we are from PS I Love You team, and I'm presenting on behalf of myself and my colleague Shay Murthy. So my name is Manish, and let's see what we've got. So placing orders via PromoStandards is efficient for suppliers, results in a faster turnaround time for distributors. To sum it up, like it also prevents a lot of human errors from both sides. So it's a win-win. The more suppliers and distributors adopt it, it's definitely a win-win. But there are a few problems. One, the standards are not being accessible for small and medium-sized distributors because of lack of adoption from some of the larger platforms out there. And another reason is like smaller distributors do not have in-house dev teams where they can start integrating it with their own systems to really make use of the flexibility that PromoStandards offers. Third, like I said, there aren't any free and user-friendly options out there that take advantage of PromoStandards and that really drive developer adoption as much. The third problem that we keep hitting into is, okay, fine, like we are now ready, but then like when a new distributor needs to start using a tool, they have now provision credentials from hundreds of suppliers if that's what they're doing business with. So, this has been, these are the key three challenges that we have been focusing on. So let's see what we have. So what we have come up with is an open source tool, and our vision here is basically just follow the standards and not really trying to recreate anything, just follow the standards, leverage its capabilities, but have an open source tool that everyone can contribute to and make it available for a lot of small and medium-sized distributors as well, so that they can either fork it, make it their own if required, or just use the openly available tool as well. Second, it is extremely important that the tool be user-friendly, else all the things that we're trying to avoid, like mistakes, human errors, they are bound to happen again. Secondly, lack of making it user-friendly would also mean less adoption. So it is extremely important that it is very user-friendly. And for the third problem that I talked about, which is how do you provision credentials with hundreds of suppliers, we have one more secret weapon. So we'll get to that at the end. Third one, next is demo time. And if anyone wants to try it out, they can either scan this code or just go to ps-oms.vercel.app. So some features might not work because we are using a free version of an image upload or something like that, but most everything else will work. So it is actually connected live with a few suppliers that we had credentials with. And all of the data that you see there is actually coming live. So this is a working prototype. So let's see what the demo looks like. Okay, the first thing you'll notice is it looks pretty simple. It's just like any other e-commerce site or something that you would go to. So that's what we have modeled this on, like make it very homely, like very relatable, so that you feel right at home. So how does this work? So what we did was we modeled this off of apple.com. I just placed an order there, and I was like impressed with how simple their options are. So we've just pretty much modeled it on that. So yeah, the first thing someone's going to do is like choose their colors. So I think some of you might have noticed that the inventory changed. So this is all live inventory right now. So if you go to Promo and check the inventory.
Manish, real quick, just so you know, we're only seeing the PowerPoint slide. So if you want to hop over to the...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. How about now?
Yeah.
Much better. We got it. It looks great.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, like as you see, like this is, it just looks like any other e-commerce website. And yeah, so all you got to do is start making your picks, and you'll see that the inventory numbers are changing. These are all live inventory. So let me just go ahead and place an order. So next I'm going to pick a decoration. Pick one. I have the decoration methods. So I can pick my decoration method, and it shows me what is the maximum decoration size I have. I can play around with this. I can tweak that. I can also upload an image. So let's say I upload a very tiny image, and it's going to complain that, okay, no, your image is actually too small. So at this point, I'm either tweaking my artwork size, if that's what I'm okay with, or I'm going to upload a new image. So let's see if what happens if I put a new larger image. So it says that's small too, but yeah. So in case I use a smaller dimensions, you will see that the image DPI checks out. So I'm going to enter some details here. And you see that we've also integrated with the shipping estimator. So you can also choose your ship to address, and then just hit submit. So with this, like we now are able to submit an order directly through PromoStandards using the send PO endpoint. And yeah, all of this, we've probably gotten about 70% of the way there, like in terms of configurations and like things that we are still looking forward to do are like showing you the real-time pricing, as in when you're making your configuration, displaying that pricing and things like that. So yeah, so this is a quick demo of like how this works like. And similarly, in case you needed to, what if you do not have credentials and like you also want to support that supplier? So what we have done is, for that reason, we have gone ahead and come up with an option for download PO for email. So this is a new concept that we were thinking about, which is, okay, what if you don't have credentials, but the supplier can somehow support PromoStandards? So they don't need to re-implement all of this. What they need is a way to easily parse all of your configuration and then put it right back into their PromoStandards. There's a PromoStandards system. So for that, the idea that we came up with is download EPO for email. So when you click on that, it's going to download an XML. So all you have to do is like attach this into your email and send it over. And on the supplier side, there can be a system that checks for like, okay, an attachment for electronic PromoStandards purchase order. And if you find one, like you already know who sent it, so you can authenticate that this is the user and just put it into the PromoStandards system. So with this, it's just a different transport mechanism, but you still have PromoStandards and you're able to utilize PromoStandards even without having credentials with a particular supplier. And yep.
Excellent.
And,
Tony,
yeah.
if you type your question in chat, Tony, I see your hands up. So just throw it in the chat and we'll get to you. If any of the judges have a question here, we'll definitely just turn your camera on and fire away. If not, we'll read Tony's question when he blasts it in here. Oh, Tony's good now. Okay, he doesn't have a question. Any questions from anybody?
Yes, where did your freight rates come from?
Yeah, we are integrating with a third party in this case to determine the freight rates. And the way we've structured it is like we saw that oftentimes people want to use their own account numbers. And for that reason, we wanted to support a third party where like you can use your own, bring your own, let's say UPS account or something like that.
And from a dimensional perspective, how are you determining the dimensional weight on these?
Right. So dimensions are available, and we also have the weights. So we can configure that. But I'll be honest, right now for the hackathon, we have hard-coded a few parameters such as, let's say, weight. So that's hard-coded right now, but it's like really easy to change. While towards the end, like we saw that, okay, once we have all the pieces together, it seemed very easy to integrate all of this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
David, do you have a question?
Yeah, I think for the non-technical judges, can you just restate the problem in very simple terms, the problem you're looking to solve and the solution?
Sure. So the main problem we were trying to solve is that it's not easy to adopt promo standards for a lot of small to medium-sized distributors. So the way we wanted to solve it is by providing an open source tool where people can go in and like submit their orders via promo standards. And you can ask why promo standards. They can already do that over email, and it's for the reasons that I mentioned before. Promo standards is just providing us that capability. It just needs to reach a wider audience.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Manish, good job for our second.
Thank you.
So for those of you who don't know, we had 5 preset teams, and then we had 2 wildcard teams, and Manish stood up along with the other international team, which got us our, I think, 7+ countries of representation so far in the hackathon. So great job, Manish. All right, Amy.
Thank you.
Who's next?
So up next is The Price is Right, and Andy will be presenting for us.
Andy, can we call you Bob Barker?
Sure thing.
All right. Good luck. No pressure.
All right, let's go with this.
We got you. It looks good.
There we go. All right, so we'll start out there. Ooh.
My granddaughter had been.
That's a good one. It'll throw us right into something else. What do we do? All right, so we wanted to go through our problem statement. So often you have negotiated pricing with distributors and you don't see those values coming through in promo standards with standard API calls. So we wanted to build a tool that was going to use those negotiated rates and compare it against net rates. So that if you were taking in orders and things like that, that you weren't selling for below, the negotiated price and things like that. So we looked at this and it goes out and we've got a list of products that just exist in JSON data right now, but it could be, going against your ERP system or website data. And then we go out and we compare that against the promo standards using the net pricing and the customer pricing, and we show some product data and then the pricing and configuration to get all of those things. And again, we take the SOAP data, throw it into JSON, and use it there through our web-based tool. So we've got that there. And then this is our tool. So in here, we go out, we've got some JSON data that has all the endpoint information for our different suppliers. And then we've got another JSON file that has all of our different SKU information in it. So we can go here and it's going out in real time and it's grabbing the net price, the customer price, and then we're showing the status here on our report. And we go out and we grab the product name, the SKU, the image from product information, and then again, pricing information is coming from price and configuration. And we could also go here and clear it out and we could look for one product at a time and pull that up and see all of our information. So it's a very robust tool and it works very, very quickly to show us with the status colors of what has correct pricing and what does not. So we look at this and we think about it as a broader tool in the future where it could perhaps be a contract manager. So it could be an online tool to manage all prices and contracts between buyers and sellers. Everything can be securely viewed. And then this could be used either as a seller or a buyer or a supplier tool to ensure that pricing information is going to be correct. That is it.
All right, so we're going to fire some questions at you. Okay. So I guess back to your problem statement. So you're trying to solve, so for those with some background history for the judges, PromoStandards returns 3 types of pricing. Distributor, you have the catalog pricing, the net version of that, and then the customer pricing if there's any customer specific pricing. So those 3 are all supported within PromoStandards. So your goal here is to, so let's look at this, your correct response here. What are you, what classifies it as correct versus incorrect?
So we have a stored price in our system of the $52.08, and that's what we're comparing it against. So we've got some JSON data that has our specific SKUs and our discounted rate in it, what we're expecting to pay. And then what we're doing is going out and grabbing the net rate and the customer rate and comparing against that to make sure that our ERP is correct.
So Erica's asking a question here in the chat. Are you making 2 calls for PNC, one for the list and another for the customer? I think she would do PC.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions anybody wants to fire into the chat while we're here? All right, Bob Barker, Giggity, it's a good job. I like the, I think it's an important piece of the industry of trying the whole price validation and price verification. It's something I think we tend to struggle with industry-wide of what is the actual price we're charging for things. So
definitely.
That's a good one. Okay, Amy, anything else before we move on to the next team?
Nope, I think we're good. The next team up is our last team, Happy Cashers, and Robert and Michael will be presenting.
Hi, Robert.
All right, I gotta figure out how to present, but
you can do this.
Share screen.
Boom. Can we call you an international team because you're from Canada?
We are international. We're across time zones.
All right, it's all you. We see it, Robert. Go ahead.
Does it say PromoStandards Hack-A-Thon? Because that's what it's supposed to say there. All right.
Got it.
So this is our presentation for the PromoStandards Hack-A-Thon today. We're on the Happy Cashers team. This is basically what I'm going to talk about: our project concept, our team, the goals we had for this project, what technologies we used, and the architecture we used to develop it. I'm going to show you a dashboard we developed in a live demo. So hopefully I'll get through that quickly. I won't speak quite as quickly as I spoke during my little spiel. This one, my pitch. So the concept is a maintenance-free, supplier-hosted product pricing and configuration caching proxy. So what is that? A caching proxy is a server that goes in between a client and another server, and it responds to requests on the server's behalf. Caching means it keeps the data itself, a copy of the data. Maintenance-free means supplier doesn't have to do anything after they set it up. And it's supplier hosted, meaning the supplier is the one who's putting it on a server for their own benefit. On our team are me, Robert from commonsku. I'm a software developer. I did the software development. And Mike Pfeiffer, who's from the distributor, American Solutions for Business. And he helped me decide what we should put on things and developed our slides. And our t-shirts and all our other stuff like that. Okay, these are our goals. And we wanted this proxy server to be fast. Because often PPC responses especially are slow, especially when you're getting customer data. Wanted to be no maintenance, so the supplier didn't have to worry about it. We wanted to have rate limiting on an IP and account level so that there was, it didn't cause, you wouldn't have to worry about that sort of thing. You wouldn't get DDoS. We wanted it to flag PPC data issues because some suppliers whose names I won't name sometimes give data that doesn't look pretty. We need a dashboard so you can see what it's actually doing. A stretch goal is to provide a RESTful API, and you need to be able to invalidate the cache in case you've updated your backend data, although it should invalidate itself and fetch new data periodically in any case. Technologies we used. Tried out some new technologies that I've never used before. So I was coming at this from a clean slate. Ones that I have used, obviously all the PromoStandards ones. Docker, never used before. We used that to help with the no maintenance part of it. Redis for our data store, TypeScript for the language. Dino, which is node replacement as to run the TypeScript. Dino Fresh, which is a brand new web application framework. Preact, which is a mini version of React. It doesn't send 6 megabytes to your browser every time you load a page. And Recharts for building our dashboard. So here's kind of what the architecture is like. The client sends a request. It's intercepted by the proxy. Proxy says, oh, do I have a copy of it? I'll check in Redis, see if I've got it. If I do, I send it back to the client. If I don't, I'll go out to the supplier, I'll get it, I'll send it back to the client, and I'll cache it in Redis. Meanwhile, in the background, we have a bunch of workers on the right here who are continuously polling the supplier to check the product data service to see which products it needs to cache, and also querying for each of those products all the PPC endpoints, caching them in Redis. We also got some stats workers who are building stats based on the products and the requests that get sent in because we log every request in each direction. If you go to this link here, you can get some information on our architecture where it's spelled out in great detail. Okay. Here's just an image of our dashboard. I'm just going to go take you to a live version. I don't know if you can see this.
We got it. We see it.
All right. Here's our PPC caching dashboard. Unfortunately, this is not live data. My stats workers are still working in the background, trying to compile all that. But there was only the one of me writing them. But the basic idea is you can see how fast the proxy is going. These are the durations at the top of the various different methods on the service and how long it's taking for the proxy to respond versus how long it would have taken, or how long it takes the proxy to get the data originally from the supplier's server. This is how many requests that we're making that are coming into the proxy versus are going out to the supplier. This is where in the world all these requests are coming from. This is the time of day of the week that you're getting requests. These are the most popular products and why they're popular, what you're getting requests, how many requests you're getting, and at what method. These are your most active users and how many requests they're making to each method. And here are some of the data issues that we've discovered: an unrecognized state on a get fob points request. You can ignore them, in which case we won't bug you about that one again. You can revalidate them, in which case we'll invalidate the cache and go fetch this data again. And if you get them all done, you are a happy camper. Now let me see, did I have any more? Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you go back to your dashboard? So and we'll let other people chime in here with questions. Why are you smoking certain services with, I mean, the gap between in your graphs between milliseconds, I mean, you're not getting a lot on get decoration locations, but you're really crushing it on get configuration and pricing. You know, what explains the higher performance in certain methods over the others?
In this case, it's fake data. That's what explains it here. In the case of ones that I actually looked at, but didn't graph because I only had like a few data points, there's not too much difference in the first four categories here. The differences really come in the second, the fifth and sixth categories here, in that I have this data stored in a denormalized format, and I don't have to go back to the supplier to get it. It's already in a fully hydrated format, so I can just send it to the client.
So who's hosting this? The supplier is hosting the proxy?
A supplier would host the proxy. Anybody could host the proxy theoretically, but if the supplier hosts the proxy, he can tell all his clients or her clients to use the proxy. Common could host the proxy for you if it wanted to.
All right, Vera's got a question here.
Yeah, this looks really good. I'm very impressed with the UI on this. So great job on that. How long did it take you to string all of this together?
We started on, what was it, Monday last week?
This week, yeah.
Or this week? No, we started last week, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Today's
right.
Monday.
Yep, kickoff was Monday.
Whenever the teams were decided, that's when we did it.
And did you build anything for how and when the data is refreshed?
Right now, we go get the product sellable every day. And if the product sellable change, then we fetch any of the new sellable products into the database. If it doesn't have something in its database already, it'll go back to the supplier to get it and store it, and then it starts some background processes to go fetch the additional methods so that it can have a full cache. It also, as different users with different credentials come in, it stores their credentials, and then it uses the same response for all the ones that should be the same across users. So all of them except the get configuration and pricing by customer. That's the only one that it does that it requires that different data for different accounts. So we hash the price lists, and we get a pointer to a price list that matches your credentials because we fetched it, so that we can save on some space with storing the data. What else did I want to see? Some actual timings I can probably show you if my.
Robert, while you're getting that, you mentioned you use a new graphing chart library. Thoughts on this one? Good, ugly, good choice?
It was simple.
Okay.
So this is a customer data came back in 430 milliseconds. I'll just say when I originally fetched this from the supplier, it took 35 seconds. So it was a little bit of an improvement. The other ones were not as remarkable, but it's really the customer data, and that's the hardest one to cache for service providers, especially because there's like M distributors, there's N suppliers, there's P products. So that's M times N times P. That's a huge amount of data. But because most of them probably share a similar price list for parts, and we can store a hash of that and just have one copy of it, so you know which one you're using. What was I going to look for? Timing.
Excellent.
So that was 297 milliseconds. Sure.
So that's great, Robert. I think you're trying to solve, and looks like you have solved for one of the performance issues that I think certain suppliers are returning very quick calls, and it looks like you're trying to solve for the ones that aren't and making up for the difference. So Great job. Amy, anything else here before we kind of wrap this up?
No.
Okay.
We're good.
It does do XML. These were just our we also provide a REST endpoints. So
awesome. Robert, throw that in the chat, and then so that way we can check it out, because we're going to provide all the chat links to everybody after we wrap this up. So it's a lot. That's good. I like it. Good job. All right. So we're 6 minutes over, but so excellent job, everybody. So what's next? Judges will submit their scorecards by this evening. You obviously know what they're judging on. The live presentations have been recorded, and we're going to share them at our Tech Summit Welcome and Hack-A-Thon Award ceremony. The champions will be announced Sunday evening. So for those of you who've been sleeping in a cave, the total prize money or the Hack-A-Thon has been $5,000, $4,000 to the winning team, split equally among the participants, and $1,000 to the second place team. We also have the world's best trophies that we've custom designed with Clearmount. So they're gonna come through there. And if you are, there's a Hack-A-Thon channel and the general channel on our PromoStandards Slack network. We're going to pump as much of the content from today into there. Give us a day or so to gather the GitHub links, because I know many of you have already messaged me on how do I see some of the guts behind how this is done, because there's 7 very impressive presentations. And I think as the technologists in us all are more now looking at how was that done, because it was very impressive. So that's going to happen here shortly. What next, Amy? Did I miss anything?
Nope,
okay.
That was it.
Amy, you want to give a shout out to this crew here?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, all our team leaders. I mean, it was a lot of work behind the scenes when we went from on-site to virtual, and the team leaders really, really stood up, and the hackers, thanks so much. It was a lot. It was a lot. And as soon as we kicked off, the activity was immediate. Over the weekend, I had to turn my Slack notifications off a few times because they were just coming fast and furious. So great job, everyone. Great stuff. And just so excited for our first annual Hack-A-Thon.
Yes, great. If any of the judges want to chime in and anything, any reactions, any feedback here, we can certainly take that here before we send it off into the abyss here. No pressure. David, here we go.
I would just congratulate everyone. Really, really impressive stuff. And I know a lot of work went into it. So, but I think each one of the teams presented really interesting solutions to some real problems. So well done.
Yes, great job. I'm very impressed by the level of expertise in the industry and the amount of time that people put into this. And I would just say it's very exciting and refreshing to see that as an industry, we are coming together to solve problems. So kudos to the PromoStandards committee team and to all of you who led these teams. You did a great job.
Couldn't have said it better. I agree 100%. Well done, teams.
This has been incredible. I think I agree with my fellow judges here when we look at all of these cross-functional teams bringing innovation to the forefront of our industry discussion. And I think that's the kind of thing that inspires new members to come into the industry and build something incredible for the future of promotional products and who will be in, 5 and 10 years. So great job, everyone.
While I have everyone here, John, should we address the hurricane situation down in Florida?
There's bad weather in Florida.
Yes. There's a few things coming up in chat. So we are working very closely with the county officials on the ground down there, our event space, our vendors, and we're looking to be able to make an announcement tomorrow about yes or no. But we are working very closely. We're following it. We know about it, and we're working our hardest to make sure we communicate exactly what needs to happen for everyone. I know, Vera, this is probably like you live through these, it's kind of so we've gotten so many requests saying, hey, should we be worried about the hurricane or why, what does it matter? It's like, well, our event space is on the water in Tampa Bay. So we've been really working very closely with them. So more to come. We'll communicate it via chat and Slack and via email.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, we're great to have a lot of influential promo companies in the Tampa area. So they're providing us real-time feedback hourly, letting us know what's going on. So we're on top of it, and 100%, like Amy said, tomorrow we're going to relay that out. Lastly, thank you to Ascent as our sponsor for the hackathon. They've been great supporters all along here. So just one more final shout out to that. So as we set it off, great job. I'm way impressed with the quality of work that was done in 7 days. It's incredible. And like the judges said, it's great to see. This is a great thing for our industry, great for promo, great for the technologists. It's all around excellent job. Good job, everybody. So set it off. Good job.
Right. Thanks, everyone.